Hello and welcome to the Evercade Retreat. My name is Gene and today I'm discussing my thoughts on the Evercade Showcase that has finished today. So let's get straight onto it. They've had 3 carts announced with a tease of another one yet to be announced, which I guess will come soon. The first one is Windjammer, Karnov and Friends, and this is essentially Data East Arcade 3. The problem is the back catalogue of Data East games is owned by 2 companies, one which has licensed the previous collections and Payon who licensed these ones, which is why it's not using the Data East name. Sure, many people's first thought is, well, it's only 5 games. Well, yeah, but if they're good games, it doesn't really matter. In this case, you've got Windjammers, which is a well regarded and a good game. It's actually the only Neo Geo game or game running on Neo Geo hardware that I played in the arcades back in the day, or ever saw in the arcades back in the day. Maybe it's just a UK thing. It's quite a good game. We do have a game like it, Logjammers, which is like a poor man's Windjammers. So yeah, quite glad to see this on there. I don't know how it will play now. It's been a long time since I played it, but I did like it back in the day. There's Karnov, and I've only ever played the home micro versions. I like the Spectrum version, and the C64 version was pretty poor if I recall correctly. But it'll be interesting to play the arcade original. Atomic Runner Chelnov is a game I've only played the Mega Drive version of. I did like that, but I didn't love it. It was a game that, I suppose it was a little bit old by the time it came to the Mega Drive, and I wasn't really into that style of gameplay. When I played it more recently, or more recent years, I did appreciate it more than I did back in the day. Vapor Trail I have played, and I quite liked it when I played a bit. I only played a little bit, so hard to say if it's going to hold up as a game as a whole, but I did like it. And then there's Rogue Armour Force, which I've never played, but it does look really good. It's looked like my kind of jam, sort of thing I would have loved back in the day if I'd ever seen it in the arcade. So yeah, hopeful for this one. I think this could be quite a good collection. Even though it hasn't got the quantity, as long as the quality is there, then yeah, I'm going to be happy with this one. Now, I have been expecting the next one, and that's Gremlin Collection 2, although I was really hoping for a Gremlin Blue Collection. But I was aware that a Gremlin collection full of PS1 games would be quite plausible. I'm surprised there isn't some sort of actual sports game here, whether it's actual golf or actual tennis or the hockey one, but you know, never mind. As I'm not a huge sports game fan, I'm not really complaining, just surprised at the absence. As for the games we do have here, there is Loaded, which is a game I did really like back in the day. I'm assuming this will have the Pop Itself music tracks RSVP and To Kill. I'm sure they're going to be removed because of extra licensing. Enough, I was a huge fan of the band at the time, so it's one of the reasons I even heard of this game and picked it up. So yeah, a little bit of nostalgia there be gone, but still quite a good fun game. There is a sequel, Reloaded, which I didn't think was anywhere near as good. I didn't really play that much of it. I don't think I ever got past the first level, to be honest. There is Hogs of War, which I haven't played. It's a sort of Worms-like game. It's like Worms 3D before Worms 3D was ever a thing. And you control pigs, and there's a definite sense of humour to it. So if you like Worms, you'll probably like this. If you don't like Worms, well, who knows, maybe. But at least it's one game of 4. Buggy is a racing game, as you might guess from the title. I have played a little bit of this and I thought it was pretty good. But again, hard to say fully, so I don't know how it holds up. Again, 4 games, this is a GigaCart, so the price is going to be higher. I think some people will be disappointed with this one or less interested, but I think it's going to go down better than the first Gremlin collection did as a whole. So like I said, I really hope there will be a Gremlin Blue collection at some point. I think it would be a much more exciting thing. It would really key into a lot of people's nostalgia. It's an ideal blue cart to have multi-format, a bit of ZX Spectrum, a bit of C64, a bit of Amiga, maybe some others as well. But hey, maybe one day. Oh, maybe it'll be the other cart that's yet to be announced. Maybe. But I wouldn't be surprised if that is a blue cart, but we shall see. Either that or it's going to be a Neo Geo Arcade 2, but why wouldn't they put that in this announcement? And of course the other cart that was announced was Neo Geo Arcade 1. My first thought was it's only 6 games. Now it's not a bad quantity, but I was hoping for more. Mainly because I'm not overly familiar with a lot of the Neo Geo library, and a lot of what I've played is good but not great. Now, first game that's on there is Metal Slug, which is definitely great. It's probably the best Neo Geo game I've played. I haven't played that many. There's also King of the Fighters 2000. I've never played this one, or I've played bits of the others. Now, to me, they are, they're not Street Fighter, but they're good fighting games. And again, maybe the ones I haven't played have got a lot better than the ones I have. There's Shock Troopers, which is a top-down running gun. I've played this a bit. I thought this was pretty good. Magician Nord is a game which I'm not surprised is included, and I played a little bit of it. Again, I thought this is a pretty good game and it's one I'm interested in. It's my kind of jam. Then there's Sengoku, which I've played a bit of the third game, which I thought was okay. I thought it was a pretty good side-scrolling beat-em-up, so I hope this first one is good as well. Ironclad I've never heard of, but it's a shoot 'em up, and well, it does make for a fairly rounded collection of sorts. Well, there's a bit of variety. 6 games. You've got like an action platformer, a beat 'em up, a fighting game, 3 different types of shoot 'em ups. Proper run and gun, a top-down run and gun, and a horizontally scrolling shoot 'em up. So yeah, I think it's quite a rounded collection, and it's a good start for the Neo Geo collections. And of course, we've got the other parts of the announcements, such as the new versions of the VSR and EXPR. Well, not new versions, but the new packaging. This is without games. I think this is a great idea. I'm surprised they didn't do this before. It's also nice they're going back to white, so the consoles actually match the carts we're putting in them. And as they said, they'll have bundles done at a retailer level. So this will be good. When you're buying it, you can get them with a specific cart. Obviously, I think it's safe to assume they're going to be cheaper as well. Also, we had 2 Super Pockets announced, and a limited edition. Surprising no one at all is the Neo Geo Super Pocket. The only surprise is that it's Neo Geo Arcade. In some ways I was expecting, I know many others were expecting a Super Pocket of the Neo Geo Pocket games, or maybe a mixture. But here we have 14 arcade games. They are Alpha Mission 2, Blazing Star, Fatal Fury Special, King of the Monsters 2 The Next Thing, Last Resort, Metal Slug X, Mutation Nation, Overtop, Samurai Showdown 2, Sengoku 3, Shock Troopers 2nd Squad, Soccer Brawl, The Last Blade, and Top Hunter Roddy Cathy. Now, a number of these are sequels, so I think it makes sense that I think we can assume that on the Neo Geo Arcade Collection 2, when it's announced, it will feature the first games of these series. Well, things like the original Samurai Showdown. Perhaps the first Fatal Fury will make it onto a collection. Now, obviously, the first Metal Slug is on the first collection, as is Shock Troopers. Of course, it's also possible some of these games will be on carts as well. Based on previous ones, you might get a little bit of crossover, but I don't expect it, or at least not much. I'll admit, this is the approach I expected them to take, to basically not lock too much to the hardware, but some of it. As for these games themselves, obviously I'm familiar with some of them. Mutation Nation I've played, I thought it was quite good, but a pretty basic beat 'em up. Blazing Star I've played, and I thought that was pretty good what I played of it. So in some ways I'm a little bit disappointed that's going to be, or potentially going to be on hardware only, but never mind. They also announced a limited edition of this, but personally I think the sort of the dark grey, almost like the black and gold look of the basic version does look better than the limited edition one. So will I pick up either or the limited edition one? Well, yeah, I probably will pick up the one version. Will I rush to do it? So I probably won't get the limited edition, but you never know. The other Super Pocket that's been announced is the Data East Super Pocket. Now this one is much less appealing to me because, well, I have the other Data East collections and there isn't much new on here, but the game list is B-Wings, Bad Dudes vs Dragon Ninja, Breakthrough, Burger Time, Burning Rubber, Chain Reaction, Crude Buster, Gate of Doom, Joe and Mac Returns, Joe and Mac Caveman Ninja, Karate Champ, Lock and Chase, Peter Pepper's Ice Cream Factory, Spin Master and Super Burger Time, and Edward Randy, Tumble Pop and Wizard Fire. Now a number of these games will be really good to play on the Super Pocket. I've played them on there already because I already have the carts, but we are getting the arcade version of Karate Champ as opposed to the NES port, but it's a game that hasn't really held up too well. Having the original Joe and Mac Caveman Ninja will be quite nice, I suppose. I've actually never played the original one, and again the arcade version of Burning Rubber as opposed to the NES port, again that's fine, but there's not much here that makes me think, oh yeah, I've really got to get this. Spin Master, I would have thought that would make it onto a cart at some point, but yeah, we shall see. Again, will I pick this one up? Probably not. Again, as I have all the Data East carts that have been out so far, there's not enough really to warrant it, but really these are designed for more casual use, or for people that are first coming to Evercade, or people that aren't full setters. And in that instance, yeah, maybe it would be quite appealing. I do wonder though, maybe is this a hint that the Data East collections might go legacy? Well, probably not. I think that's more of a complementary thing. My overall thoughts on the showcases, yeah, it was pretty good. There wasn't really much in the way of surprises for me. Well, there kind of was. I really didn't expect Super Pockets to be announced at this point, and the fact they're coming out in June rather than November, I think that's, a little bit of a surprise. And to be honest, I didn't really expect the announcement of the sort of gameless or bundleless EXP and VS. So I think that was a good good idea. I'm not again surprised they hadn't done it sooner, to be perfectly honest. I was really expecting a bundle with not the Neo Geo Arcade or something along those lines. I did find it amusing that they announced that the next showcase will be in May. Normally after some sort of announcement, within sort of 10 minutes, somebody's asking when the announcement will be, and Blaze have preempted that, so that made me chuckle. And being that it's the 5th year anniversary of the Evercade, it'll be interesting to see what big things they do have lined up. I can't imagine they'll let it pass without something big and exciting. The question is, will it be things like a Star Wars collection and things like I've predicted? Well, I say predicted, that Dominic Wheatley, or whatever his name is, the sort of chairman or whatever it is for Blaze, did turn around and say in an interview last year that he would aim for big licenses like Star Wars and James Bond. So it'll be interesting to see if anything like that has come to fruition. The carts announced, I think, do look pretty good. Honestly, there's nothing I'm unhappy about, although I'm sure some people will be disappointed with Gremlin Collection 2. Even if it's just based on the fact they didn't like the first Gremlin Collection. I'm sure some people will have the same sort of sentiment as me regarding Windjam and Carnival and Friends, and that it's only 5 games. Although technically Turplan Arcade 4 was only really 5 arcade games and 1 rehashed NES port, so it's not a bad quantity, just not as much as you might have hoped. I guess it's just down to what the cost of licenses are and what the available games are. Now, as I understand it, some of the database games that people have been hoping for that haven't come to Evercade yet are looked up in licenses with other things for like remasters and things, so maybe that is the issue. Who knows, but yeah, it does look like quite a good collection otherwise. The Neo Geo Arcade collection really does look like sort of almost like the ideal way they could have done their first collection. As someone who's not overly familiar with Neo Geo games in the library, this does seem like an ideal first collection. Hopefully the second will include things like Samurai Showdown, King of the Monsters, and games that there were sequels to on the Super Pocket lineup. Anyway, I'm not sure what else I can really say about this. It'll take a bit of processing, I suppose, to really take it in and learn a bit more information. But yeah, I'm happy with the showcase as a whole. My experience when it comes to these Evercade showcases, people discussing it in the comments, speculating, they kind of get overhyped for these things. So for many people, I think these things are always a bit of a disappointment because it doesn't live up to their hype. But that's a common phenomenon in everything really. So since the showcase finished, I've not looked at reactions that much, so it'll be interesting to see how this has gone down, but I think most people will be pretty pleased with this overall. Anyway, I think that's it for this video, so I'll leave it there and I'll see you in the next one.